Welcome back to another episode of Time Out with the Sports Doctor podcast. And I want to start off by saying congratulations to all of the medical students who officially matched to their residency programs. Some of you orthopedics, many different specialties in medicine. However, this is really the culmination of everything that you've done to this point. You know, the reasons why you studied late during medical school, the reasons why you strive to get the high grades and to do the best on the standardized test is really so you could choose and have as much control over your future as possible. And for those who don't know what the match is, it is a process that all medical students have to go through at the end of their medical training, at the end of the formal training. So now you're about to graduate and get your MD, and you're matching into a residency program. So, I thought it was funny that match week is the start of March Madness because I feel like there's a lot of parallels where on Monday you're opening an email, hoping and praying that you made it, that you've matched successfully, that you made it to the NCAA tournament. And then on Friday, you get to find out where you're going. And in between, it's the scramble. So let's just say that your favorite team did not make it into the NCAA tournament, into March Madness. And then the scramble is like you're hoping you get picked up by NIT, right? You're hoping you get to go to a lesser tournament. So if you did not make it to the main NCAA tournament, you're hoping to make it into a lesser tournament of sorts. So it can be a very stressful time. It's a very exciting time for many. However, I've been on both sides of the match. I had to go through the match 2 different years. First time I was not fully matched. I had to scramble, so to speak, into a preliminary year of general surgery, which I did at Howard University, which opened up the door for me to get accepted the next year into orthopedic surgery. So it's an exciting week for some. It's a dreadful week for others. So it's the agony of defeat and the thrill of victory all in one. But it's exciting being able to see the medical students and the excitement on their faces. And the really is to see the excitement on their face with so much hope for this perfect residency program that they matched into. And for many, it will be. For some, it will not be. But this is an exciting moment. But this all makes me think about the journey that we go through in medicine, which is so long to just get through high school, undergraduate, to the point to get into medical school, and then going through that grueling 4-year cycle in order to match into residency, which can be another 3 to 5 to 6 years of training in your specialty before you get your first real doctor job. So as I go through all that, I think about the life cycle of the physician or the life cycle of the medical professional. And we get into this specialty so many times to help other people. And many times we forget about taking care of ourselves. But so much of our time, even as training physicians, as well as in our career, is focused on taking care of others. And many times we can forget about taking care of ourselves, especially the little things that we're not taught in medical school or in training, which is how to take care of our finances, how to protect our assets, how to protect our ability to make an income. And that's why one reason why I talk about these things on this podcast, and one reason why I speak about the disability insurance and have teamed up with Pattern, because these are all very important tools to be able to protect yourself as a physician and to be able to protect yourself, your financial future. Because many times, let's be honest, we want to be able to take care of our family for generations. In order to be able to build generational wealth, you have to invest your money, you have to protect your money, and you have to protect your ability to make an income. So, with that being said, this episode, I want to do a compilation episode because we've had many great guests over the years speaking on financial topics from real estate, from investments, from how to properly take care of your loans, how to protect your assets. And we're going to just share some of that information kind of grouped up together. And feel free to go back and find those individual podcast episodes and listen to them. The first thing that it came on my mind is because it's tax season, right? So every tax season, we're thinking about our money. We're thinking about sometimes you're praying that you don't have to pay. Sometimes you're praying that you get a return. But it really should not be as much guesswork because proper tax planning With Keystone CPA, we have Amanda Hahn and Mac McFarland in this episode. But tax planning is a year-long process. If you're only meeting with your CPA or accountant during this time of the year to go over your taxes to try to see, hey, you need to give more of this, you need to provide more information about contributions you made throughout the year and this, that, and the third, you need to find a new CPA, because this should be someone that you are constantly in contact with, at least quarterly. And really, anytime you do anything, make a purchase or make any big financial decisions, your CPA, accountant, and your team should be involved. So hopefully you'll get some helpful information from this. Give me feedback on more guests that you want to hear from, or some topics that you want to hear about from a financial standpoint, or how you can help grow your assets, because that's what we're here for. All right, be blessed. So once again, congratulations to everyone who had a successful match. For those who did not have a successful match, stay in the game. It could be a detour, not necessarily the end of your journey. If you need someone to process this with, I'm willing to talk to you, because I've been there, I understand, and I've been able to successfully help people go back through this match process and get the job that they really want. So have a great week and be blessed. One thing I really liked about your philosophy, many times people think more is better, but that's not how you approach things. You were trying to do quality over quantity. So let's talk about that some.
So I truly believe that less is more in this space. So I was on a call a little bit earlier with a number of thought leaders, and what the data is pointing to is that the mom and pop operators, like those with one or two properties, are going to fare much, much better in the space than those who have accumulated dozens and dozens of properties that are not performing at the highest possible level. When your attention is divided in that sense, and you're just picking properties, I would say with abandon, without really evaluating the value proposition that you could bring to that particular marketplace, the product is going to suffer, the customer care is going to suffer. And those members that are inside of my community, they were just sharing with me today how, there was a power outage and they were able to reach out to the family ahead of time and give them a $100 gift card to go and get dinner as they're working on restoring the power. Our members are responding. Every single guest review, they're timely. The listing description is just chock full of what are the things this market has to offer? What are the things that my hosting service has to offer? Every single photo has photo captions that share experiential opportunities within the space. Most of these larger companies, most of these property managers that have dozens and dozens of properties, they're not taking the time to really give it the property the love that it deserves and the love that you'll get back in return once you take that time. So that's one of the things that they were really excited about, because with all of the photos, something as small, Dr. Derrick, is letting people know you don't want to just say bathroom, bedroom, second bedroom. Each photo caption is an experience. Lounge on the king size memory foam bed made by such and such company, and express the king that you're, the queen that you are, and enjoy the TV with streaming services. And so you get to tell a story and get that guest to feel like, oh, this is the place that I need to book. This is the experience that I want to have, because you've indoctrinated them into having that experience. It's a small thing. And I kid you not, we use a ton of ChatGPT to help us out. So don't think that I'm me and Shakespeare, we're sitting, but it makes the difference and it gets those bookings.
Are you a young physician who's frustrated in figuring out how you're going to continue to fund yourself through this early phase of your career? Are you tired of speaking to lenders who do not understand your plight? We have a solution for you. Let me introduce you to Doc2Doc Lending.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Zwade Marshall, co-founder, CEO of Doc2Doc Lending. We are the exclusive lending partner for physicians and dentists in the United States. We underwrite our loans thoughtfully, knowing the physician journey and your career trajectory. We're a company that's been founded by doctors and built for doctors because we get it. Banks don't understand all the ways in which we struggle through educational debt, consumer debt, as we're trying to make ends meet during a very challenging time of our lives, Doc2Doc is underwritten with thoughtful process that's meant to give you credit for all the unique physician characteristics that you have, like being board certified, having a dual degree, undergoing and finishing a specialty or a fellowship as well, and just being employed as a physician. All of those things give you credit to get your interest rate lower with our platform.
So we are glad to partner with Doc2Doc Lending. So if you are stuck trying to figure out where you can get funding or where you can continue to support your family during this time of transition in your career, we offer you a solution. Doc2Doc Lending, physician owned, understands your plight, understands what it's like to be an early physician or a physician who wants to do something outside of medicine. Check out Doc2Doc Lending. This segment is a paid advertisement for Doc2Doc Lending, Inc. Loans are made available by DR Bank, member FDIC, and are subject to credit approval and available in approved states only. Representative APRs for Doc2Doc range from 9.99% to 26.99%. Terms and conditions available at doc2doclending.com. And moving on to retirement, I almost feel like D plus I equals R, so you have your debt, you have your insurance. All of this fits into that whole retirement picture. And some people might say, hold on, I'm transitioning from residency to my first job. Why am I thinking about retirement? Because your retirement is closer than you think, number one, and you have to start taking steps now if you want to retire at some point in your career. If not, you might have to work until you cannot work any longer. And you don't really know when that day of not being able to work any longer is coming. So you have to start thinking about retirement early on. Let's speak to that.
Absolutely. Warren Buffett said, time in the market matters more than timing the market.
Correct.
So you want to start early. You want to have your capital inside the marketplace, having the money work for you and earning interest on it and compounding it. He who understands compound interest earns it, and he who doesn't pays it, right? So if your employer offers a 403B or a 401k with match, even a modest contribution of match, you should take advantage of it because that's free money. What does match mean? It means that if you put up $1,000 into that investment account, your employer may put up 200 or 300 or 500 bucks up to a certain cap. That is them giving you more money with which you can invest. So it ends up becoming this kind of virtuous cycle of growth to help your initial savings amount become a lot healthier over time. Roth IRA, know that residents often qualify for Roth IRA contributions due to your lower income level, and the after-tax contributions grow tax-free. Over time, as you graduate out of residency and fellowship and you start earning money, you'll realize that your tax liability or tax mitigation strategies are oftentimes as important or more important than the interest that you earn in the marketplace. Because when you're in a high tax bracket, it can erode all of the benefits that you accumulate over time in the marketplace if you don't plan your tax strategy correctly. And so thinking about strategies like a Roth that has a tax advantage benefit to it is critically important for you.
Let's be frank. I mean, as orthopedic surgeons, we do fairly well. Wouldn't necessarily ever go, hungry. Our kids will be able to go to school. Our, families will be well taken care of for the most part. But, for me, my life's vision is to be able to contribute significantly to the delivery of musculoskeletal care in lower to middle income countries, starting with Nigeria, the country that I came from, but the focus being mostly Africa. So because I feel like I've been blessed with this opportunity to study in the US, and achieve all the things that I've achieved so far, and I cannot forget to try my best to improve the quality of services on ground so that years from now, no one's grandma will ever go without being able to get knee replacements like mine did when I was in medical school. So initially, my approach to trying to do that was to go back to Nigeria and, do a hip replacement, knee replacement here and there, and teach about it and things of that nature. That was great and all, but I only have 4 weeks.
One person.
Yeah, I'm one person. I only have about 4 weeks of vacation. And of that 4 weeks of vacation, I still got to spend some time with my wife and kid, and then maybe spend another 2 weeks of that, actually doing some of that work, in Nigeria or internationally. And I just didn't think that I was going to be able to achieve that vision quickly enough using that model. And that's when I started to think about what other ways can I use to leverage my time and give myself some time freedom. And with that, financial freedom, right? Because financial freedom to me is the ability to do whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
when you want it,
Sure.
with the people you love.
So when someone comes to you and they're ready to invest, what's that process look like?
It's pretty easy. So the whole process goes like this. You open an account, and at the most it takes a day. Once we get, an application and a copy of your ID and so forth, get your account open, then you can log in. You've got an account online, you can see it, and that's great. The second step is to fund the account. So you can contribute from your own, checkbook. You've got a cap of how much you can contribute every year, but you could make a contribution. You could, if you have like an IRA elsewhere, maybe at Schwab or, TD Ameritrade, Northwestern Mutual, you can transfer that. So to do that, you fill out our transfer form. It's part of our application. You sign it, give it to us, we sign it. We send it to your custodian, they move your money. So you fill out a form, basically, is what you do for that. And if you have a employer plan with a previous employer, like a 403B, 457, if you have a 401k and it's a previous employer, you just call that previous employer's administrator and say, hey, I want to roll my money over into this IRA. But we tell you how to do it. We help you do it. But you fill out their form and they send the money. And so you've opened the account, you've funded it, now you invest. So you go shop for your asset. And this is super crucial at this point, that you don't just pick any asset, that you do your homework, that you understand the asset, you understand the risks, you do your due diligence. Do the people that are selling you this asset own it? For example, you want to get online and Google them with the word fraud after, if you're dealing with another person. If it's a piece of real estate you're just buying yourself, you're through your IRA, then you want to make sure you understand all the potential pitfalls. How do you plan for unexpected expenses? And you always want to leave a pad in your account. For example, right now, interest rates are going up, right? So a lot of people in private equity deals, when that private equity is, backed by construction, those construction deals are facing, higher loan amounts. And so there are a lot of capital calls. So does your IRA have a cushion to be able to handle something like a capital call? So some things to take into account. And that's why we have a consultation with you before you go forward. So we understand what you want to do, how you want to do it. But there's so much information. I mean, if you have a topic, if you want to learn tax liens, if you want to learn all about investing in raw land or mobile home parks, you Google it, you find meetups. There are so many podcasts. It's wonderful how we can go deep and on different areas of expertise.
As a surgeon, every time I walk in the operating room, I have peace of mind knowing that my hands are protected, knowing that my whole body is protected.
Yeah.
My ability to take care of my family is protected because we do risky work. We work long hours. We have to think, and it's almost like an athlete. If an athlete comes back from an injury and they lose one step, they can lose their job.
Yeah.
And if you lose part of your function, you can lose your ability to take care of patients. And if you
Right.
lose your ability to take care of patients, then for many hospital systems, you're not worth what they paid for. So you can lose your job and lose your ability to take care of all the things that you've amassed over time. So we're delicate individuals as physicians, especially as surgeons. If you develop a tremor or you tear your rotator cuff and you can't lift your arm, in orthopedics, we do a lot of physical work.
Right.
So it's like with workman's comp. Sometimes your people get injured and they're not able to go back to their previous level of function. So you just have to know that as you've invested so much early on, from money to time, relationship capital, you've invested so many things and you've delayed gratification. That's the term that we heard about all the time, delayed gratification. And now you've made it, you've invested all these things and you waited to get here. Now you have to protect your ability to do your job and your ability to take care of your family, take care of yourself. It gives you peace of mind for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. What you've built from a mental capacity to do medicine, the physical capacity to do medicine, that's what generates your income. And your income is your largest financial asset. It's going to be worth millions, probably tens of millions for some doctors, especially surgeons, over the course of your career. So protecting it with a percent or two of your income each year, it seems like a no-brainer to me. But one other thing you mentioned that I want to touch on, obviously you're seeing very real physical things that happen to people from a physician standpoint in today's kind of environment. This whole idea of burnout, mental health issues coming up with doctors, that's a piece of disability insurance too that a lot of doctors aren't thinking about. You have a psychiatrist who thinks, I don't really need disability insurance because I can sit here in a chair all day and do my job. The reality is that it protects mental health as well. So if you have a depressive episode or anxiety becomes something that incapacitates you from doing your work, there's coverage for that as well. And that's a huge deal for doctors, especially nowadays. And then, of course, there's illnesses that come up that prevent people from working too. You got cancer, and if you need treatment, unfortunately, that's what we've seen a lot of these young doctors over the last couple of years. We've seen more than a handful of doctors that have gone out for 6 to 8 months just because of a cancer diagnosis. And then the treatment that followed, it made them unable to perform as they needed to. And so they filed a claim on that.
All right. So another hot topic is bonus depreciation. And Amanda, I know you've been talking recently about some news that's out that bonus depreciation might go back to 100%. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so in 2024, right now, we still, under current law, we still have what's called bonus depreciation. Bonus depreciation basically is a perk that the IRS provided starting several years ago. And they said, instead of writing off certain assets over 5 years or 7 years or 15 years, you get to take a larger chunk of that upfront earlier in the year so we can take more tax benefit. So under current law, we get 60% bonus depreciation, which means if I spent $100 on this 5-year asset, I can probably write off $60 of it immediately. Then the rest I would, depreciate still over the 5 years. Last year, the bonus depreciation was 80%. So the original rule was we're going to just dwindle it down from 100 to 80 to 60 to 40 next year. But what's happening right now in Congress is now with all these different proposals, there is one where they're wanting to bring back 100% bonus depreciation. And the really amazing thing is not only are they wanting to bring it back for 2024, they're also wanting to bring it retroactive to 2023 and also forward to 2025. So if you're an investor or even a business owner and you bought assets that you could depreciate, then that means, anything purchased last year could now possibly eligible for 100% bonus depreciation.
Yeah, and kind of going back, talking about, tax deadlines coming up, right? So this law, just for everyone's benefit, as of today, has not passed yet. I mean, it's obviously moving along the process and it looks good that it's probably going to pass. But so if you're finding yourself in a situation where what we're telling our clients is, go ahead and get your tax returns, more or less prepared, 90, 95% done. And then let's see what happens with this because, let's say it passes. You want to obviously make sure, and you've got eligible assets in 2023, you want to make sure you're taking advantage of it, right? So we're going to need to wait for our tax software to get updated. That might take a little bit of time, so there's a few things that have to fall into place probably before you actually go ahead and file your return. But yeah, we want people to be aware of it, kind of keep moving along the process, but just plan accordingly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for continuing to support this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, then please leave a 5-star review. And if you haven't done so, subscribe so you continue to get the updated episodes. Until later, peace.
Hey, time out with the sports doctor. Keep our head right in the game. We ain't never stopping. You are now tuned in. Trust you don't want to miss. This is where life, sports, and medicine